Daniel's story begins in Jerusalem, a city filled with God's presence and promises. He was a young man from a noble family, surrounded by the comfort and familiarity of his homeland. But God had a bigger plan for Daniel, a path that led far beyond the familiar streets of Jerusalem. This path began with a dramatic shift. The Babylonian army, powerful and merciless, swept across the land, conquering nations and taking captives. Jerusalem, despite its walls and prayers, fell to the Babylonian might. Daniel, along with many others, was taken captive. Imagine the fear and uncertainty that must have gripped his heart. He was ripped away from his family, his home, and everything he knew. He was taken to Babylon, a bustling city with strange customs and even stranger gods. Even in this foreign land, surrounded by uncertainty, Daniel's spirit didn't break. He carried something within him, an unwavering faith in the God of Israel. This faith would be his anchor in the storms to come. Life in Babylon was a test for Daniel. He was chosen, along with other young captives, to serve in King Nebuchadnezzar's court. This meant learning the Babylonian language, customs, and even their beliefs. There were temptations everywhere, subtle pressures to blend in and forget his God. One of the biggest tests came in the form of food. The king's delicacies were offered to Daniel and his friends, but these foods were against the dietary laws that God had given to his people. Daniel could have easily given in. He could have reasoned that it was just food, a small compromise to make life easier in a foreign land. But Daniel chose differently. He chose faithfulness. He politely but firmly refused to defile himself with the king's food. This act of courage, this simple act of saying no to something that went against his beliefs, revealed the depth of Daniel's faith. He knew that true strength came from honoring God, even when it was difficult, even when no one was watching. One night, King Nebuchadnezzar had a vivid, disturbing dream. It troubled him deeply. He called all the wise men, magicians, enchanters, astrologers, to interpret it. They were fearful and confused. They pleaded, but the king's anger grew. He decreed all wise men, including Daniel, be executed. Daniel prayed to God for understanding. God revealed the dream and its interpretation. Daniel humbly approached the king. He credited God as the source of all knowledge. The dream was of a statue symbolizing the rise and fall of kingdoms. Daniel's faithfulness to God made him a trusted advisor to King Nebuchadnezzar. After Nebuchadnezzar, other kings ruled Babylon. One such king was Darius, who held Daniel in high regard. Daniel's favor with the king sparked jealousy among the officials. They plotted to bring about Daniel's downfall. Knowing Daniel prayed to God, they devised a plan. They convinced Darius to issue a decree against praying to any god or man except the king. Anyone who disobeyed would be thrown into a den of lions. Unaware of their motives, Darius signed the decree. Daniel continued to pray openly, 3 times a day. He didn't hide his devotion to God. He stood firm in his faith, even if it meant facing the lion's den. The jealous officials, seeing their opportunity, quickly reported Daniel to the king. Darius, realizing he had been tricked, was deeply distressed. He valued Daniel and had no desire to see him harmed. He tried to find a way to revoke the decree, but the law, once established, could not be changed, even by the king himself. With a heavy heart, Darius ordered Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den. He said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." The den was sealed with a stone, and the king returned to his palace, unable to eat or sleep, his heart heavy with worry. At dawn, Darius rushed back to the den. He cried out, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions?" From within the den came Daniel's voice, clear and strong. "My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight." Darius was overjoyed. he immediately ordered Daniel to be lifted from the dead. As Daniel emerged unharmed, it was a powerful testament to the faithfulness of God. It was a visible demonstration of God's protection over those who remained faithful to him. Darius, witnessing this miracle, issued a new decree. This decree acknowledged the sovereignty of Daniel's God, the God who could shut the mouths of lions. He proclaimed that throughout his kingdom, people should revere and fear the God of Daniel. Daniel's faith, tested in the fiery furnace of adversity, had come out brighter than ever. His story became a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of unwavering faith in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. More than just dreams. Daniel's prophetic insights. Daniel's ability to interpret dreams was just one facet of his connection with God. He was also blessed with prophetic visions, glimpses into the future that God revealed to him. These visions weren't just for his understanding, they were messages of hope and warning, meant to guide God's people through the complexities of history. One of his most remarkable visions revealed a succession of kingdoms, represented by different beasts, that would rise and fall on the stage of history. Daniel saw the rise and fall of empires, the clash of kingdoms, and the ultimate triumph of God's kingdom, a kingdom that would never be destroyed. These visions weren't always easy to understand. They were often filled with symbolic language and imagery that required careful interpretation. Yet, they provided comfort and hope, reminding God's people that even in the midst of turmoil and uncertainty, God was in control. His plans would prevail. Enduring faith in the face of persecution. Even though Daniel enjoyed favor in the Babylonian court, his faith continued to be tested. He lived in a culture that worshipped many gods and often persecuted those who followed the one true God. Daniel's commitment to his faith often put him at odds with the prevailing beliefs and practices of his time. Despite the risks, Daniel never wavered. He remained a shining example of faithfulness and integrity, even when surrounded by corruption and idolatry. His life was a testament to the fact that it is possible to live a life of faith even in the most challenging of circumstances. Daniel's story reminds us that faith is more than just words. It is a way of life. It's about making choices that honor God, even when those choices are difficult, even when they come at a cost. The legacy of Daniel: courage, wisdom, and faith. Daniel's story is not confined to the pages of an ancient book. His life continues to resonate with people across centuries and cultures. Why? Because his story speaks to the very core of what it means to live a life of faith, courage, and integrity. Daniel's unwavering faith in God, even in the face of captivity, pressure, and threats, stands as a beacon of hope for all who face adversity. His story reminds us that God is faithful, even when circumstances seem bleak. His wisdom, his ability to discern God's will and to live accordingly, serves as an inspiration to seek God's guidance in our own lives. Daniel's life exemplifies the truth that those who honor God will be honored by him. Most importantly, Daniel's life is a testament to the enduring power of faith. His story reminds us that faith is not passive, it is active. It is about making choices that reflect our beliefs, even when those choices are difficult. Daniel's life, a guide for our own journeys. As we reflect on the inspiring journey of Daniel, we are reminded that his story is not just about a man who lived long ago. It is a timeless message of faith, courage, and integrity that continues to resonate with us today. Daniel's life challenges us to examine our own lives. Are we standing firm in our faith, even when it is not easy? Are we seeking God's wisdom in our decisions and actions? Are we living lives that reflect our beliefs, even when we are surrounded by pressures and temptations? Daniel's story reminds us that we are not alone in our journey of faith. God is with us, just as he was with Daniel. He will give us the strength and the courage to face our own lions' dens. He will guide us with his wisdom, and protect us with his love. Let the story of Daniel inspire you to live a life of courage, wisdom, and unwavering faith, knowing that God is with you every step of the way.